Welcome back, everybody,
Yeah, welcome back.
to a fascinating deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about routine. And this one might sound a little different than what we usually do. We're actually going to be talking about routine through the lens of golf.
Right.
So what do you think about that? Golf and routine.
Well, I gotta be honest, when I first thought about it, those two things didn't necessarily go together for me. But when you actually look at the game of golf, it makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because golf is so much about um, you know, precision and doing the same thing over and over and over
It's
again.
all mental, right?
Yeah.
So the routine is what keeps you on track. And we were looking at this piece from this former U.S. Open champion,
Mm-hmm.
and she was talking about routine and how important it was to her game.
Absolutely.
What really struck you about what she had to say?
Well, she said something really interesting that kind of resonated with me. She was talking about how, when you're in a tournament, all eyes are on you. The stakes are high,
Right.
and there's all this pressure, right? And, it's easy to let that get to you. It's easy to let that, mess with your head. But she said having a routine really helps her to kind of block all that out. You know
Right.
what I mean? It helps her to just focus on what she needs to do.
To quiet the noise?
Exactly. That's a good way to put it, to quiet the noise. And it's like her mind is free to focus on the game, not on the pressure, not on the crowd or anything else. It's just her and the course.
What I found incredible was that, she practices with the exact same routine that she uses in tournaments.
Yeah, she talked about that.
Can you imagine? I mean, talk about dedication.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that just shows you how important it is to her. But you know what? There's actually some science behind that too. When you do something over and over again in the exact same way, it becomes ingrained in your muscle memory.
Yeah.
So it's not just about remembering the steps anymore. It's about your muscles, learning to react instinctively. And that can make all the difference, especially in a high pressure situation.
And speaking of high pressure situations and legendary golfers, we were talking about Tiger Woods
Yeah.
and his pre-shot routine. I mean, the guy's got a routine for
In
everything.
everything.
Right, right. What I found fascinating in this piece that we were reading was it was actually narrated by Tiger's father, Earl Woods.
Yeah.
And he broke down Tiger's pre-shot routine step by step
To another golfer, right?
to another golfer
Yeah.
while Tiger's on the green, about to take his shot.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh man, that's gotta be a lot of pressure right there to have somebody analyzing your every move right before you're about to hit the ball.
Right.
I mean, I would be so nervous. I'd probably shank it.
Right. But the way Earl was describing it, it was like he was describing a dance.
Yeah.
It was like every little movement had a purpose.
Yeah.
It was all about,
Precision.
eliminating that randomness.
Slowing seamlessly.
Exactly. And right as Earl says the word impact, Tiger hits the ball.
Wow. The timing.
The timing, right.
That's crazy.
And you know what? To me, that just kind of highlights how ingrained these routines can become.
Yeah.
It's like they're not even thinking about it anymore. They're just doing it.
Right, exactly. It becomes second nature. They've done it so many times that their body just knows what to do. It's amazing.
So we've talked about golf
Mhm.
routine, but how can we as, everyday people apply these principles to
Yeah.
our own lives? I mean, it's not like we're all trying to win, a major championship here.
Right.
But we all have those moments where we need to perform at our best.
Right. For sure.
So how can we use routine to help us do that?
Well, I think the key takeaway here is that the principle of routine is universal. It applies to everyone, not just athletes. So whether you're prepping for a big presentation at work or, you're a writer and you're trying to get those creative juices flowing,
Right.
or even if you're, just trying to get a handle on your morning routine so you can start your day off right, that consistency that you get from a routine can be a game changer.
Yeah.
It really can. And, the key is to find what works best for you.
Yeah.
And then commit to making it a habit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're all creatures of habit, right?
Right, exactly.
So why not make those habits work for us instead of against us?
Absolutely.
And, thinking about this whole routine thing kind of got me thinking, what are some areas of our own lives that
Yeah.
could maybe benefit from a little more structure?
Yeah.
What are some small, repeatable actions that we could turn into habits
Right.
that would help us to kind of be more successful?
Yeah, I love that. Small, repeatable actions.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
Right. It's not about, overhauling your entire life overnight.
Right, right.
It's about making those small incremental changes that add up over time. That's
Exactly.
great.
Yeah.
But, this is something I've been like really thinking about recently.
Hmm.
And that is, when does routine become too much?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right. Like, where's the line between helpful structure and being so rigid
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that.
that you stifle your own creativity and
Right.
spontaneity?
Absolutely. You bring up a really good point because I think there is a danger in becoming too reliant on routine.
Right.
Like if you're so focused on sticking to your routine, you might miss out on opportunities to improvise or to try new things.
Right.
So yeah, where is that line? I think that's something that everybody has to kind of figure out for themselves.
Yeah, I think it's a balance.
Absolutely.
And it's probably different for everyone.
Hmm.
And it's probably different depending on, what you're doing.
For sure.
But it's definitely something to think about, I think, as you start, building your own winning routines.
Hmm.
It's like, how do you find that sweet spot where you're, you're benefiting from the structure,
Yeah.
but you're not stifling your own,
Your
growth.
own growth. That's a
Uh,
good way to put it. Yeah.
right. So it's
Yeah.
a fascinating topic, and it's something that, you know, I think we could all probably stand to think about a little bit more.
Absolutely. It's something that I'm going to be thinking about a lot more now. I know that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Well, thanks for diving into the world of golf with us
Right. Thanks for having me.
on this deep dive into routine.
It was fun.
And we'll see everybody next time
See you next time.
on the deep dive.